Well, welcome back, DIY car guys and car girls. We have the ethanol carburetor on the S10, and the purpose of this video is just to show you guys what I've done so far, what I think works, what doesn't work, and it's also to communicate with the builder a little better, to show them what I've done and how to correct the issue that it's having. I think it's a great carburetor if it's off, but he had it set up off a trailer to the track and just run. But the problem I'm having is this really fat setup the way he had it, you know, for driving around the streets. It's a 1-to-1, no power valves, squared. And I've done everything that I can. Like I said, I just want to show him and you guys, not saying that this is not to bash anyone, guys. I just want to figure out what's going on with it, the way it came, so maybe we can work together and work it out. I mean, he's been a stand-up guy. He says he will definitely, if there's any problems, he'll refund my money or whatever. So, like I said, I'm not trying to bash anyone. Just let me get that clear. I just want to have a video that shows everything so I can better communicate the steps that I've done to fix these issues myself, and I'll put it back in his configuration. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to put it back on the configuration that it came from Mark, which was a 1-to-1 linkage, no power valves, and it's squared. The way you set up the idle circuit in these is on the back, you close up the front idle, and you only do the back until it's 800 RPM. Then you take the front until it's, 1400 RPM, supposed to rev it, should clear it up, it should come down, make sure your air fuel is a good happy, like 12.8 to 13ish, 13ish air fuel, which that's what it is, and that's what I've done with the idle circuit. So all that set up, to the best of my knowledge, exactly how it's supposed to be set up. So let me show you guys. I'm going to put it back in the configuration that it came, and then we're going to go down the street and I'll show you guys my issue. So let's do that. All right, so before I go any further, I want you guys to know that I do have the coil. This is it's not the 2, because the 2 was 270, but it does have the same specs as the 2 to give it a nice hot spark, because he wanted me to have that. And next I'll show you the plugs that I have. All right, these are the plugs he said to run, and they are gapped to 34. That's it. That was one of the other requirements he said for this carburetor to work. And I know someone's gonna ask, what is the ethanol percentage? Overfilled it just a tad, but you can see it's pretty much E85. Okay, so we got both meeting blocks. They're both back to 97 squared. Here is the rear, and here is the front. 97 squared, no power valve. Okay, so let's recap. I put the timing at 40, where you wanted it. I got the plugs. Distributor's locked out, it's always been locked out. Carb is back exactly how it came out the box. Got the good coil. All the idle circuits are set up correctly. Let's take it for a spin. Okay, so as you saw, way fat going down the street. I mean, like ridiculously fat, and it's fat wide open. So that's why I wanted to make changes. So this is for my viewers. What have I learned so far on E85? Well, what I've learned is, and I've consulted people who made, 3,000 horsepower plus cars, a local tuner, Very cool guy. Some of you guys know him, Mr. Joe Simpson. He's tuned ethanol, he's tuned methanol. I mean, everything, like 2,000, 3,000. He actually maxed out his dyno. And he has really nice chassis dyno. I mean, every time I've been talked to Joe, he has some of the best advice. And every bit of advice that Joe has given me has been spot on. I used to be one of them guys saying, like, how you know a chassis dyno can't get your car tuned right. I was completely wrong. But one good thing about going to the dyno is I learned at least you can have something to gauge your wideband, because sometimes widebands you buy will lie to you. But the good news is when I have a wideband on my truck, it reads exactly what it reads at Joe's shop. One good example of this is when I had the LT1 over there in the S10, we tuned it nitrous, and it never ran a 9 on that motor with 150 shot. And it ran, after tuning it on Joe's dyno, making some changes, and we probably could have got a little more power out of it with nitrous, like that 150 shot, because it's still a little fat. But, you know, it's like it's good enough, it's clean, get out there, see what it does. And whatever AFR it did on Joe's dyno, when I went to the track, exactly the same. So people will say the dyno isn't like the real world. You put on a good dyno, and trust me, it's just like the real world. And that LT1 ran a personal best, 150 shot at 990 at 132 miles an hour. But anyway, so if there's one person who I trust about tuning, and his advice has always been good, it's going to be Joe. And I was like, hey Joe, what do you know about E85? Will this fix this? Will this fix that? And he's like, no. He's like, no, like plugs, timing, spark, not going to fix a fat condition. So to my viewers, what have I learned about E85? No amount of spark, unless you have shitty spark, that might be it. But if your system is working really good before, if you put it slightly better than it was, zero change. Even with no matter what plugs, you know, if you go really cold in the plugs, but you know, a couple steps colder, I could tell zero difference. So what I've learned is no amount of spark, plugs, or timing can fix a really fat condition. It just doesn't happen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a power valve in there. I'm going to take it how I had it set up, because I am a big believer in power valves in the street. I've tried a lot of carburetors with, you know, squared off, and I can never ever get them to be even close to a carb without a power valve. And the thing is, I say is like, you know, if power valves were useless, why do turbo cars have to use them? Of course, I know they're different, but why would you block off a circuit? Now, you do run the risk of an ethanol of it eating through that power valve, and then all the fuel in that bowl dumping into your motor. But I say, like, shoot, power valves are not very expensive. Buy like 4 of them, you know, like every 3 months or 4 months, throw a new power valve in there and you should be good. That's just my feeling on the whole thing. I'd rather have that tunability than not have that tunability. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it the way I had it. It's still not completely right. It still goes a little fat off the hit. Like I said, I think that carburetor is too small, because it was definitely making a little more steam on gas with the larger carburetor. And the reason why I know, because I went back and watched my other videos, and the converter is flashing higher. So when the converter flashes higher, what does that mean? It means it's making more power. So hopefully we can get this thing working right. Maybe get a bigger one, or whatever Mark wants to do. But I definitely want a power valve. That's just me. And if he doesn't want to do it, that's fine. You know what I mean? I'll send it back to him. We'll work something out. He does seem like to be a pretty cool guy. So let me set the carb up the way I had it. We'll go from there to rip. Okay, so the first thing I did was put progressive linkage not one-to-one. Just look down the throat and I'll show you what it does. All right, so watch the front. See the front blades? They're opening. Then the back opens all the way. See that? Then what I had to do, I had to take this plate off because the power valve port, which is right here, which goes down into your carburetor, so it reads vacuum, it was blocked off, so I had to pull the plate off just to remove that set screw. So now we have a functioning power valve port. I don't have any check blow on there, so if it backfires, it will blow it up. But we can at least test this. So we have a functioning power valve port now. This is the front metering block. You can tell because the back, I always back off the back power valve. Don't use it because you're primary cruising with your front. And that's what the progressive linkage is for. So you're saving money on gas, not just burning through it like the other setup was. Now you have to make sure on these 85 carburetors that you have the correct restrictions in here. They're a little larger than gas because you need more fuel. The ones I was told to put in there is 0.070 restrictions. So these passageways are 0.070. All right? I'm going to use a high flow power valve. See this? It has more openings. And I'm using a 6.5. Why am I using a 6.5 when most people use 4.5? Well, this is why. I tested them both out. The motor liked this one better. And this is what I say, guys. Just don't follow, you know, anyone's advice unless you test it. I don't care if Jesus Christ himself came down and told you to put a 4.5 power valve in there. Don't listen to that guy. Listen to your motor. Your motor tells you what it wants every time. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and put both these blocks in there. And I've also changed one more thing. Let me show you. Okay. So I have 35s in the front. And I have 28s on the back. You're asking why is the front bigger than the back? I've actually gone opposite at times too. But that's how this one wants to be. Now this is my 4th attempt at playing around with power valves. Let me explain to you why I think this one needs bigger ones in the front. And when I talk to guys, I tell them about, you know, pump cam timing. This goes right here though, right? But you can see this, what's going on right here. So since this, the secondaries, is taking a while to open up because you watch. Then they're opening up right there. So what's happening is, it takes that long for it to open up, so there's a big gap. And your timing on this one, at least that's what it wants. It wants more squirt here. And then the cam actually that he has on here is really good. This thing's worked pretty much for everything. It's a really nice setup carb, I will say that much. Pretty carb, everything's done really nice. So let me, and it was, once I put the power valve in there, it was actually very, very easy to tune. So let me go ahead and throw the blocks on there, and then I'll shut up and we'll finally go for our last rip. Okay, so I don't know about you, but it's pretty hard to argue with those results. I'm not saying I'm a better tuner. That's not true. It's just, here's my opinion on carburetors. You can say, and I've been there too, you can say, man, this carb is going to work great on that motor. I know for a fact, man, I am a fucking boss. I've done so many carburetors. And then it goes on a motor and it doesn't work out. I mean, every motor's different. If anyone tells you different, then I'm sorry. I've been there, you know. It's just, every motor's different. You have two identical motors and they want something slightly different. That's just what I've learned. If you don't believe that, you want to argue it, hey, more the power to you. It's a free country. We all have our opinions. Now, is that the best tune-up? No. There's a couple of things I can definitely approve on. I missed my shot on the accelerator pump, so it was a little fat. I went back and then now it's a little lean off the hit. Eventually, I can definitely sort that out. That's one thing I found about carburetors, is that is the most tricky thing to dial in, is your accelerator pump timing. Usually what I do, I don't know that, but there's cams, and you can get different cams too. But I usually take a larger cam, and then I'll just slowly grind it down, go make it hit, grind it down, make it hit. And then when it gets a little better there, I go to the back and grind it down, make it hit. So if you're watching the wideband, it's a little delayed. So when you hit it, then it'll go boom, boom, because the wideband doesn't read it as fast as the motor's revving. It's about a split-second delay, so you got to take that into account. That's what I've noticed. So it goes boom for a second, and then it goes to like a little bit fat. So what I'm guessing is I need a cam in the front that extends longer on the throw with that progressive linkage. I think once it gets open to a certain point and the back opens, there's not enough squirt to still stay in there. It's enough squirt in the beginning, but I think that squirt needs to stay longer, so when it opens up, it breaks that curve and the air fuel can just go boom, right to 12. I have noticed that E85 carbs, they like to be a little fatter on your wideband than gas. Normally around 12.5 on gas seems to be really good. That one, 11.8, 12.0 seems to be pretty darn good. And that's what I'm shooting for. And you have to do your cruise a little fatter too, I've noticed. Else the motor, it's not happy. It starts to get hot on you. So you want to have your cruise just a little fatter. So I'm still working that out. And that's just part of things. Every carb I've tuned, man, I'm not saying anyone's, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I'm not saying anyone's better than me. I just like to set it up the way I want it set up on my motor, because it's my motor, So my thoughts about the carb, awesome carb. I mean, it's really nice stuff. It's once I put the power valve in there, extremely easy to tune. So I have no gripes about the tune. It's just, it came set up, for all-out race, and I tried everything. It just didn't work out. So that's the reason why I went there and set it up. Like, I still think it's a little small, on the small side for my motor, so I would like a bigger one. But anyways, guys, thank you for making it to the end. If you just skip to the end and you want to and if you missed something, make it a comment. Please watch the whole entire video, because I explained everything. And of course, I give you before and afters, and I go on over things I've learned to be true and things that I've learned not to be true. So thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.